Have you ever stood in front of a picture of the Great Wall of China and just thought, wow, how did they even build that? It stretches for thousands of kilometers, winding over mountains and through deserts. It's an absolute icon of human achievement. But here's the question that really boggles the mind. How long did it actually take to build? If you're thinking of a single, continuous project, you're in for a surprise. The story of the Great Wall is way more complex and fascinating than that. So, let's get one thing straight right away. The Great Wall wasn't built all at once. It wasn't even built by a single dynasty. The truth is, it was a colossal undertaking that spanned more than 2,000 years. That's right, 2 millennia of construction, rebuilding, and expansion. It's one of the longest-running construction projects in the entire history of humankind. To find the very beginning of the Great Wall, we need to travel back in time. Way back to the 7th century BCE, this was a period in China known as the Spring and Autumn period, a time when China wasn't a single unified country but was divided into several rival states. These states were constantly at war with each other. To protect their territory, they started building defensive walls. These weren't the grand stone structures we imagine today. They were much simpler, mostly made of rammed earth basically, soil packed down tightly layer by layer. They were effective for their time, but they were just isolated segments scattered across the land, built by different kingdoms to fend off their neighbors. Think of them as the very first seeds from which the Great Wall would eventually grow. The game changed completely with the arrival of one of history's most formidable figures, Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China. After conquering all the rival states and unifying China in 221 BCE, he faced a new, persistent threat. Nomadic tribes from the north, particularly the Xiongnu. To protect his new empire, the emperor had a grand vision. He ordered the existing walls built by the former states to be connected and expanded into a single, massive defensive line. This was the first time the concept of a Great Wall really came into being. Now, imagine the sheer scale of this project. Emperor Qin mobilized a massive workforce. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of people, including soldiers, conscripted peasants, and prisoners. The conditions were brutal. They worked in some of the most remote and unforgiving terrains imaginable. Historical accounts tell us that countless people lost their lives during this construction. There's a reason why the Great Wall is sometimes referred to as the longest cemetery on Earth. The workers used whatever materials they could find locally: earth, wood, and stones. They used a technique called rammed earth, where they would build a wooden frame, fill it with soil, and then pound it down until it was rock hard. Then they'd move the frame up and repeat the process. It was slow, back-breaking work, but it created surprisingly sturdy walls. While much of the Qin Wall has eroded over the centuries, its creation marked a monumental step in the wall's history. After the fall of the Qin dynasty, the Han dynasty took over, ruling from 206 BCE to 220 CE. They didn't just maintain the wall, they made it even longer. The Han emperors were keen on protecting the burgeoning Silk Road, the famous network of trade routes that connected China with Central Asia and even Europe. A secure trade route meant wealth and prosperity for the empire. So they extended the Great Wall further west, deep into the Gobi Desert. These extensions weren't just walls, they were a sophisticated border control system. They built watchtowers and fortresses to monitor movement, control trade, and quickly relay messages using smoke signals by day and fire by night. The Hanira Wall played a crucial role in safeguarding the flow of goods, ideas, and culture along the Silk Road for centuries. Now, let's fast forward through several hundred years of Chinese history. Different dynasties rose and fell, and while some did repair work on the wall, it wasn't a major priority for everyone. But that all changed with the Ming Dynasty, which ruled from 1368 to 1644. The Ming emperors came to power after overthrowing the Mongol-led Yuan dynasty. Having just fought off invaders from the north, they were obsessed with border security. They decided to undertake the most ambitious and technologically advanced phase of wall building yet. The sections of the Great Wall that we are most familiar with today, the iconic grey brick structures you see in photos, snaking majestically over mountain ridges are mostly the work of the Ming Dynasty. They poured enormous resources into this project, and the construction techniques were a world away from the old rammed earth methods. The Ming builders used kiln-fired bricks and solid stone blocks, held together with a surprisingly strong mortar made from lime and sticky rice. Yes, you heard that right, sticky rice. This incredible innovation created a mortar that was incredibly durable and water-resistant. The Ming Wall was more than just a barrier. It was a complete military defense system. It featured thousands of watchtowers, barracks for soldiers, fortresses at key passes, and beacon towers for rapid communication. It took the Ming Dynasty about 200 years of continuous work to build and fortify their version of the wall, which eventually stretched for over 8,850 kilometers, or 5,500 miles. So, when you add it all up, from those early earthen walls in the 7th century BCE to the final major fortifications by the Ming Dynasty in the 17th century CE, the construction of the Great Wall spans a mind-blowing period of over 2,300 years. It wasn't one wall, but a series of walls, built, abandoned, and rebuilt over and over again by different generations for different reasons. It was, of course, a military marvel designed to keep invaders out, but it was so much more than that. The Great Wall was a symbol of political power, marking the boundary between the settled agricultural civilization of China and the nomadic cultures of the steppe. It was a tool for controlling trade and migration. It was a communication network that could send messages across vast distances in a matter of hours. More than anything, it became a cultural symbol, representing the incredible perseverance and determination of the Chinese people to protect their homeland and their way of life. Today, the Great Wall is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, visited by millions of people from all over the globe every year. It stands as a silent testament to the ingenuity, sacrifice, and ambition of countless individuals over thousands of years. It's a powerful reminder that the greatest achievements in human history are rarely the work of a single moment or a single person, but the result of sustained effort over generations. So, the next time you see the Great Wall, you'll know that you're not just looking at a wall. You're looking at over 2 millennia of history carved into the very landscape of the Earth. Thank you so much for watching and joining me on this journey back in time. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more stories from our amazing world. Let me know in the comments what historical marvel you'd like to explore next. See you in the next video.